When people think of the Portuguese League, they probably think of the three teams that you saw in the thumbnail to this video: Sporting, Benfica and Porto. Throughout this video, I'm going to be telling you some of the other teams that you should give a chance on FIFA 22 career mode. And of course, I'll be going into the big three and letting you know why you should maybe pick those teams instead. So let's get started going through the Portuguese League. We'll be beginning with realistic rules. If you're into following that kind of thing, the Portuguese League is super simple. There are only two rules. The first one is a maximum of 53 players in your squad, which probably won't be that difficult for you to fulfill, and you're only allowed to give a maximum of 6 debuts to 18 and 19-year-old players each season. So this means you can only bring through 6 youth academy players each season if you want to try and adapt it to FIFA. Very easy, and it's quite a cool restriction as well because you won't be flooding your youth team with these players. You can promote as many as you want, just make sure you're only giving 6 game time in each season. So where should your youth scouts be going? Well, most of the time in the Portuguese League, of course, you'll be having South American players, but what you might not realise is how dominant one nation is. Of course, Portugal is the most common nationality in the Portuguese League, but second place is Brazil with 149 players in the league as of 2020. To show how dominant the Brazilians are, the next highest common nationality is actually the French with only 14 players in the league, and the Spanish with the same 14 players in the league, meaning there's 10 times more Brazilians than any other nation in the league except for Portuguese players. So that's definitely a place you need to send your youth scouts. I'd be sending one to Portugal, one to Brazil, and then one to either France, Spain, Colombia or Argentina, because those are the top 6 most common nationalities in the Portuguese League. While you're scouting your players and trying to find new players for your first team, you should probably limit your player ratings to 84 if you're in the Champions League, 81 if you're in the Europa League, 77 if you're a mid-table team, and if you're towards the bottom, try and limit your players to 74, just to make it a bit more of a challenge. Before we get into talking about the teams, if you're interested in stadiums, only Porto and Benfica actually have their stadiums in the game. So those are the two teams you should be looking at if you're really into your stadiums and you need to have a real one. If not, then I would recommend going for either one of the big three, which of course is Porto, Benfica and Sporting, one of the 3 best of the rest teams. So these are the ones that might need a couple of transfers to get up to the same level as Porto and Benfica and Sporting, but you could probably do it in a season or two. So this is Braga, Boavista and Vitoria. Or if you want a road to glory, I wouldn't look further than Tondela or FC Vizela, who have really poor squads and not a lot of money. So if you want a long-term save, I would go for one of those 2 teams. One of the things that makes the Portuguese League so good for a long-term save is the amount of really good young talent that's already in the league to start off with. For example, if we look at a team like Sporting, you've got Pedro Gonçalves, Palhinha, Pedro Porro, Gonzalo Ignacio, and Matias Nunes with all potential over 85. Almost every single club in the league has at least one really talented player. And that's probably the same direction you'll want to take your save if you do choose the Portuguese League. You'll already have lots and lots of good young talent in your team, and you'll be bringing more and more in from your youth academy. So it's a really good save if you're into youth development and into developing a team rather than just going for success with the big name players. And that's the biggest reason why I think the Portuguese League is one of the most underrated career mode leagues on the entire game. So who is my personal choice if I did a Portuguese League career mode? Well, I think I'd probably go for Sporting. They've had youth players like Luis Figo, Cristiano Ronaldo, even lesser players like Simão and João Moutinho had really good careers at the top level of football, but more recently, they haven't won a title for 19 seasons until last year where they finally got one. Since their last title, you have seen good youth players like Adrian Silva, Rui Patricio, William Carvalho, Gelson Martins, a fan favourite on FIFA of course, Rafael, another good player, Ruben Semedo and Eric Dyer all coming through their youth academy. So not only did they start off with a really good squad with high potential players, it's got people like Pablo Sarabia in there, Pedro Gonçalves, really good players on FIFA. And if you're going to do a youth academy only save, or if you're going to heavily rely on a youth academy scouts, then I think Sporting is the most realistic of the big 3 to be playing as. Another reason I would recommend them is that they start off in the Champions League in the first season. I think you should probably try and qualify for it in the second season. Of course, you probably will, going off the fact you have the best squad in the entire league. But then what I would do is, even if it's probably not the most realistic thing, it could happen in real life, that you bring back Ronaldo to your club and see if you can get that first ever Champions League win. They were runners-up in the UEFA Cup back in 2005, but that's as good as it's ever got. They have won the European Cup Winners' Cup as well, when that was still a competition back in the 60s, but it's not really that major of a competition. So the challenge is there. Not only do you start off with a good team, you'll have the challenge of the other two big teams in Portugal, you'll have the challenge of the Champions League, and then you have the challenge of trying to keep hold of all your good players when teams like Manchester City and PSG come sniffing, like they did for Nuno Mendes in the summer. So that's why I would recommend not only the Portuguese League, but I also recommend you do a save with Sporting, or Sporting Lisbon as we in England like to call them. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and learned something about the Portuguese League, even if it's just the realistic rules you need to follow when you're doing your own save. Feel free to comment below or message on the Discord what your favourite Portuguese League team is, and if you do support one of these teams, feel free to leave a comment on why people should pick your team on FIFA 22 career mode. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. See you soon for another one on the Geografifa channel. Thank you and goodbye.